Thank you, Commissioner. Reverend Johnson and I are alternate asking questions. By prior agreement, each candidate gets 2 minutes to respond to the same question. So we begin with Congressman Davis, and then the next question, Commissioner Sparks will start. Gentlemen, the two of you have characterized leadership as a key quality that the next governor must have. Why is that quality so important, and what examples can you give to illustrate your leadership style?
I define leadership, ladies and gentlemen, as being able to point to challenges that seem distant off on the horizon, and yet remind us that the answer to those challenges are achievable. That's the ultimate definition. Can you diagnose the problems that face us as a community? Can you summon us to a sense of purpose to deal with those challenges? And can you give us a sense that, yes, we can master these challenges together? Another important part of leadership is saying the same thing to different people. Going in front of the Business Council of Alabama and saying the same thing you say to the unions. Going in front of the NAACP and saying the same things you would say in Mountain Brook or Hoover. A leader has to understand that we do not get to pick and choose the issues that often come before us. There's traffic that comes in front of us we never saw. So if you trust a leader to deal with those unexpected circumstances, look for someone who has a sense of vision. Look for someone who can tell us we can master things together. You've seen that in my 7 years in Congress. It's why you've given me the largest vote in the country as a member of Congress. You've seen me go to the floor of Congress when they were about to cut money for the black land-grant colleges, and you saw me get the money back. You saw me get 16th Street Baptist Church nationally recognized, and the victims of that murder recognized and enshrined in the halls of Congress. You have seen me say to black farmers around the state of Alabama, the doors have been closed, now we're going to open the doors and give you a chance to have your day in court. You've seen me say to blacks, whites, every combination of human beings that we can work together, and I have been honored and frankly proud of the fact that in our last election, we got 90% of the vote in our last contested race in virtually every box, no matter what the racial makeup of that box.
Thank you. Well, first of all, you've elected me 2 times as a statewide elected official. I took the Department of Agriculture that was basically dormant and made it one of the best departments of agriculture in the country today. Today, in Alabama, your food is safe because I had the courage to go to the docks in Mobile and tell the folks from Vietnam and China that if you don't produce your food at the same standard that we produce it in Alabama, it's not going to make it into Alabama. Today, your children are eating healthier in your schools because I looked at the statistic that said this generation of children is not going to outlive me and you. Ladies and gentlemen, as a politician, if you don't do something about that, you should never vote for me again. And that's why we created the Farmer School Program, where we buy agriculture from our farmers and put them on every child's plate in Alabama so that they grow up to be productive and healthy young men and women in Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had the courage and leadership to travel the world. I took the first official delegation to Cuba when I was criticized and said we shouldn't go. But because of those trips to Cuba, over 50% of the chicken that goes to Cuba today comes out of Alabama. Over 90% of the wood that goes to Cuba today comes out of Alabama. I took the first official delegation to Africa. I opened a trade office in India. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the leadership ability to lead Alabama, to reach across party lines, to make positive things happen. I passed some of the toughest food safety laws in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the ability to lead Alabama into the future. I have the ability to make Alabama what we want it to be. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the vision to know that only 7% of our children get pre-K. That's unacceptable. And as your governor, we will change that. Only 60% of our kids graduate from high school, and the ones who do graduate, only 17% go to college. I want to change that. I want every one of your children and your grandchildren to be able to get a college education in Alabama. Every one of them will get that education if you'll let me go to the state of Alabama.